Hi friends, it's Mary Shadbolt from Art Classes with Mary Shadbolt in downtown Denville. I'm going to be painting these adorable triangles into leprechaun gnomes. So I'm going to start painting right away. I'm going to point my camera down so you can follow along, and let's get started. So in the beginning, you have your naked triangles and then a very basic paint palette in addition to the two shades of green, yellow, and white. You will also have black and gold. All right, so starting off, let's say here, I'm gonna kind of draw a little line. That'll give me an idea from hat to body. So I think my bigger guy, I'm gonna make him mostly dark green using my sponge brush. And just easily paint this on here. Super fun, super easy, very, very relaxing. Getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. And I'm just gonna spread this around, make sure it's nice and even. And I'm also gonna be painting the sides. So I love these sponge brushes because they don't really show brush strokes. They also hold a lot of paint, which is super helpful. And if you have any littles at home that might wanna help you, this is a very safe brush for them to use, easy to handle, no loose bristles coming out. Oh, I think I need a little bit more paint. So for anyone following at home that maybe has something they'd like to paint using the same colors, this is Deco Art Americana in Festive Green. And this is a color I use quite a bit, actually, pretty much from like November to April, because it encompasses any holiday or winter pieces, and it brings me through St. Patrick's Day right into spring. So this is just like a rough idea of how I'm gonna separate the hat from the body. I think his hat is gonna be that lighter green, but I want this to dry a little bit. So before I move on, I'm thinking about this triangle. This triangle is actually gonna be a girl leprechaun, and I think I would like to put stripes on her hat. So sometimes, to help us with those, we can use a household item like tape. This just gives us little straight edges. It doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes it's nice just to have like a little guideline. So I think her hat is going to be, I don't know, maybe I'll do like dark green and light green? Yeah, I think I'll do dark green and light green. So now I've got a stripe here, a stripe here. I'll do one more. And that'll kind of, oh, maybe it'll be two more, but let's see how this looks first. So starting off, so I don't have to rinse my brush off first yet. I'm gonna use that same color green. And I'm just gonna go in those areas that I kind of taped off. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. You saw I didn't measure. It's just kind of giving me like a little bit of a guideline. And I'm just gonna be alternating stripe colors from dark green to light green. So it's okay if I kind of get in the wrong spot, because this is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be relaxing, so we don't have to worry about any of those little mess ups that might bring us anxiety. Leprechauns are full of mischief, so we could just blame it on the leprechaun wiggling while we were getting them ready for the day. Just get my little section in there, then this one will continue over here. So you can see I'm just kind of looking at the front and then using that as just a basic idea of where I want to paint on the side. And again, this is completely optional. I just wanted this hat to look different from the other hat. Once you're done, you can peel that tape right off, and you can see you have some pretty decent clean lines. Nothing fancy, but I do have a little bit of space left, but I think of this one I'm just gonna kind of eyeball. I'm just gonna use the edge of my sponge brush and just sort of draw it in. This will be like the cuff of the bottom of this leprechaun hat. Ooh, it's a little fuzzy. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing on the sides. It's kind of like the width of the brush, so that worked out perfect. I don't even have to like tilt it or anything. Oh, I missed a spot. This is why it's good to pick it up and look around, because maybe while you're painting, you're talking like me, and you might miss a spot. Okay, so I've got that one. I'm gonna clean up this edge on the bottom. And then I have my other side over here. Be roughly here. Okay, so now you can see I'm kind of done with that. I'm gonna let those stripes dry so I can get to the in-betweens. And while I wait for that one to dry, I can go back to the first one. Here's the first one. You can see that paint is soaking in really nicely. It's only wet where it's still shiny. So pretty much this whole bottom half is dry. And eventually, like towards the end, we can glue on this cool leprechaun beard. Just to give you an idea of what it could look like. But I think I want to put like a little collar here to make it look like he's wearing a jacket. So I'm going to switch to a lighter brush using that same color green and a little bit of white. And then I'm going to get a little bit of water to kind of like thin it out a little bit. So mixing that green and white, and you get like a light, like minty toothpaste color. But the fact that I added a little bit of water in there is helping me, and I'll show you why in just one second. Because I just want it to be thin, which allows me to kind of draw with the paintbrush as if it's a pencil. So let's see, if I want this to be kind of the middle, then I'm gonna do just like a big collar, like that. And then I'm gonna draw a V. So you can see I didn't like study collars or anything. I just kind of went for the basic shape. And because this is kind of watery, again, it's super, super thin. I'm probably gonna have to paint a second layer because it's very streaky, but it allowed me to easily glide across the wood because it was like really, really thin. And then I could use the paintbrush like a pencil, like I said. So I'm just getting that collar in there, almost done. And as this is starting to settle in, I am going to start thinking about what color am I going to use for the top part for the hat. And then this, I'm just going to draw a line going down like that. So cute, right? It looks like a little bit like a collar, and then I could put like some black buttons. Most of this is going to be underneath the beard, but just in case the beard blows in the wind or shifts a little bit, it's going to look like he's wearing a little blazer, a little leprechaun blazer. Cute. Okay, I actually really like that color, so I may use that color in there, or let's do a little test. Do I want this lime green? Let's see. Oh, maybe I'll do like a combination. I'll do like a double dip. All right, so I'll get some of that white, some of that green, get that minty color. I want like a lot of it, and then I also want some of this on my brush. So I'm gonna do both, and I'm gonna paint that color in there. Yeah, that's super pretty. I like that a lot. Okay, so this color doesn't have a name. This is just like leftover blobs and kind of like this like apple green color that I grabbed from the closet, and that is super pretty. I really like that. It looks very like green grass brightness. Kind of like minty leprechaun. Maybe I'll call this one Minty. All right, so I did the front, and now I just need to do the sides, so I can actually kind of like anchor just the tip so that I can see what I'm doing. Get the sides on there. So you'll notice since I've started, I've used the sponge brush, and then I'm using this like kind of medium, I think it's a 3/8, so I don't know if you have brushes at home or if you're getting brushes from me, but if it's in your kit, it'll be sort of like the bigger of the two actual paintbrushes that I'm going to give you, but it's actually kind of just like a medium-sized detail brush. The biggest one is going to be the sponge, and then also in your kit you'll probably have a very thin one like this, just for little tiny details. Or any like fine tuning if you need to kind of like fix up your edges. All right, so here's the side of this hat. Oop. And then I'm just gonna flip her over so I can do the other side of her hat. Get a little bit more of that apple green in there. It's really pretty when it mixes together. And this is getting me very excited to be able to like open the windows and listen to the birds sing. Get some flowers growing in the garden. I cannot wait for spring. This winter, in New Jersey anyway, has been a trip. We have gotten so much snow, oh my goodness. And then when it rains, it rains. So we do have sunshine today, which is lovely. But what I wanna do is sit outside in the sun and like read a book. You know, assuming I had time to do that to begin with. All right, almost done with these little stripies, which means the hats are almost finished. And now I'm gonna start thinking about what color do I want the bottom of her to be and what color do I want his hat to be. So I may use this like apple-ish color, but maybe I'll mix it with white. Do I like that? I'm not sure if I like that. Let's go with just the apple. This apple green, citrus green. I can always paint over it if I don't like it. I'm gonna use this apple green, and then I could always use that darker green for details. Like maybe I'll make it look like it's got shading. That might be kind of cool. I am gonna do kind of like a black band and a gold buckle. But let me get this background color on first. It has like a nice smoothness to it, this citrus apple green. I like it. Get a clean line here going across. So don't forget, we are adding the beard, and the beard is like super fuzzy. So if you don't have straight lines, it's not a big deal. It's gonna be covered up with that like orange fake fur. But I am kind of a stickler when it comes to stuff like that. So I try and make it at least even, if not perfectly straight. Okay, then I'm gonna do the sides. Always nice to complete your triangle by doing the sides as well, because they do have a nice thickness. They stand up by themselves. So if you were to kind of display these like on a mantelpiece or a counter or an entryway, if anybody were to see it from the sides, it's nice to give it that finished look. And then the back, if you want to paint the back, you can, of course, but I like to reserve the back to kind of put like my artist's signature and maybe the date, or especially if I have children doing it, I love putting their names and dates and maybe their ages on the back. And then it's like this beautiful, fun, nostalgic keepsake you take out every year. All right, that side is done. All right, I'll touch it down here. Gotta finish this side. I knew I was missing a piece. Need a little bit more. So this one is called Apple Tart. This one I picked up at Michael's. The color is called Apple Tart. But there is also a deco art version of this, which I think still has the word apple in it. I always just call it apple green. Any green would do. Of course, you can personalize it as you like. You can also mix colors, lighter, darker. In your kit, if you get the kit from me, it will have yellow in your kit as well, so you have that as an additional option for details. So there's my hat finished. What am I gonna do for her bottom bit? I wanna use this apple green, let's see. Maybe I do. Maybe I'll mix it with yellow. Let's add a little yellow in there and see. Make it a little more apple-y. Maybe I'll add a little white. No, right back to that apple green. That's funny. All right, well, just stick with the apple, Mary. Okay. So this one, I'm actually doing this with the brush, but you could rinse out your sponge brush and it might go a little bit faster, or especially if you have kids helping you out, you may want to use the sponge brush for the lower bit. But I just happen to have this brush in my hand, so I'm just gonna keep going. So for the girls generally do not grow beards. So what I'm gonna do with her beard fur that's in the kit is I'm going to make hair instead. I'm gonna kind of part it on the sides. If I'm feeling fancy and my fingers are working, I might try and do like little braids, but definitely I'm gonna part it on the sides and make it look like pigtails, which I think will be really cute. And then we have these wooden beads that we use for their noses. It worked really well. If you did my Valentine's Day gnomes or February gnomes, I used lots of reds and pinks, and then I did white fake fur for beards, and those wooden beads for the noses, and they're just so stinking cute. I loved it, and I needed to do it again. I love this project so much, and I'm obsessed with leprechauns. Yes, I'm Irish, Mary Elizabeth. Nice to meet ya. But I love those wooden beads as the noses. They look so cute peeking out from the fake fur that we do for their beards and their hair. Okay, oh my goodness, I painted over one of my stripes. So, easy fix. That bit right there was dark. So I'm just gonna rinse out my brush a little bit and dry it on my paper towel. And then I'll switch to that dark green and just fix my mistake really quick so it doesn't eat me up as I move on. Okay, so because we're working on both of them at the same time, it allows that one to dry while we go back to this one. I know I want this one to have that like black buckle. I'll put it up here. A black band and then like a gold buckle. And then I want to kind of outline this a little bit. So let's switch to the little brush. And I think I'm going to outline, let's see how this looks. Outline in yellow. Yeah, I think I'm liking that. Again, if there's ever something that you do and you don't like it, just paint over it. All of these colors are very similar in their color families. So very, very easy to go over anything that you don't like. And they'll just kind of bring you back to that like base color that you did first. But I like this. Almost looks like a butterfly actually, which is kind of fun too, because it makes me think of spring. Can't wait for spring. All right, that just makes it look a little more official. And then I might give him like a little white shirt. So it looks like he's wearing a blazer over a white shirt. So I rinsed out my brush and I dried it, rinsed it all the way, dried it all the way. And now I'm just gonna paint white in here. Again, this is all gonna be covered with his beard. So I'm not going for perfection. I just thought if his beard kind of scooted out of the way, it might be fun to make it look like he's wearing a little leprechaun suit jacket. Because leprechauns are very well dressed. So I wanna give him a chance to look dapper. Alright, smooth out my little blobs, and then I'll give that a chance to dry. I think I'm gonna put that black band up here. Let's see, I don't wanna lay this on top because it's all wet, so yeah, that thing's gonna get covered up. But if I move the beard up a little bit, yep, and I could even give it a little haircut. So if I put the beard here, and I'm gonna put the black band up there. So I need black. And I'm gonna switch to my medium brush, because it is a flat brush. If you're ever looking to get like a nice straight edge, a straight line, you're gonna wanna use a flat brush, which just gives it like a nice edge. I'm gonna get the paint on both sides of my brush and smooth it a little bit on my paper plate. So I dipped, and then I smoothed just to get the paintbrush back into its original shape. And then somewhere around here, I'm gonna paint just like a black band around his gnome hat. So it's gonna be here, and then also on the sides. And then, whoa, and then on the sides. Can you hear my listening to The Cure? It was like one of my favorite bands in high school. All right, smoothing out my black. Okay, so there's my one guy almost done, and then I'm gonna switch to my small brush so that I could do some buttons. I think I'll do a button here and here. And I'll do those in black. So I'll put one here. And they're not perfect, but again, the beard covers most of it. And I'll put like another button here. Okay, so then that has to dry. So switching back to my lovely lady, I think I'd like to put like a shamrock on her hat. So if you have ever looked closely at a shamrock, I'm actually gonna draw one right here with my Sharpie. It's almost like 3 hearts. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then a stem. So if you think about it that way, it's like 3 hearts. And I was looking for my brush, it's in here. Not hard to do, but you are gonna want a super clean brush. So yeah, that looks pretty clean. And I think I'm gonna make it white so it sort of stands out. I'm gonna make sure that my white is pure white. Just gonna stir it up a little bit because I had just like a dot of green in it. So getting my white on my brush, but I don't want too much, so I'm gonna wipe some of it off. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of water because I wanna thin it out like I did before with that jacket. Just thin out the water. And I think, let's think about her hair. If I put her hair here, okay, so I want the shamrock to be like right about here. So I'm just gonna kind of start drawing those 3 hearts. 1, 2, 3. There's my shamrock. And then when it dries a little bit, I'll probably outline that with my Sharpie, make it a little more secure. I feel like I want to add some yellow striping to her hat. So I think I'm actually going to switch back to my medium brush, even though it is bigger, because I like how I can get that straight edge. So I rinsed it out all the way. Now I'm drying it all the way. As my leprechaun couple continues to dry, I'm gonna do some yellow in her hat. I don't need a lot, so I'm getting it on both sides of the brush and kind of wiping off the extra. And then I'm just gonna do a little, yeah, it needed that. It needed just like a little something. So now I've got some yellow stripes coming in fast. Also, it's helping me clean up my edges, which I didn't even think about till just now. So now I'm like double happy. I'm gonna put it on both sides of the green, so it's top and bottom, and then I'll do it on the sides. Yeah, I like that. And then I think it'll also help the shamrock to stand out a little bit better too. Probably should have done this and then put on the shamrock, but live and learn. And I think this part right here, I'll just make a smidge thicker because it's kind of like the cuff of her hat. Doesn't that look better? I think it needed that. This little perk, little pick-me-up. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on to the sides. And the sides have little blobs, but I'm okay with that because I'm just going to grab that blob and drag it in each little section. So it's kind of helping me out, like a little starting place with paint ready. Drag that. I'm not sure if that happened on the other side too. I think it's just this side. Happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say. Thin that out. All right, and then switch to the other side. Yeah, no blobs. Okay, so I'll load up my brush. And I'm gonna drag it away from the front towards the back, just to get those lines in there. Again, I'm using my flat brush because flat brushes help get those smooth, straight edges. It's okay if it's not straight, we're looking for even. So if you end up doing it on a diagonal, that's okay. We just are looking for something with a nice edge. All right, and that bottom one is a little bit thicker because that's like the cuff of her hat. And make sure I got it all, and I don't have any blobs. Wipe off extra paint. Okay, I'm gonna let that continue to dry. Going back to this guy, I'm just gonna put on his gold buckle. So I'm switching back to the skinny brush, and I'm gonna get out my gold metallic paint. So this one is Folk Art Pure Gold Metallic. If you don't have it, or if you need more, or if you're in love with it, I'm giving you this in your kit. but maybe you wish that you had like a whole bottle of it. So this is what that's called. And now I'm just gonna get my little liner brush, my detail brush. And now I'm just gonna be putting on kind of like a square to represent the buckle, an open square. So we're gonna go across and down. I guess it's really a rectangle. And I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just feeling like this little leprechaun pilgrim gold buckle is just a rectangle that I'm making up as I move along. But I kind of like it. It's gonna have a little shimmy, shiny, metallic edge. Metallic paint can be streaky, so I'm gonna let that dry. And I might do a second coat, but I'm kind of digging it. It's super cute. All right, so there's my guy. Here's my girl, and this looks like it's pretty dry, so grabbing my Sharpie, I'm gonna outline my shamrock. So it shows up a little bit, put in a little detail. Cute. Okay, I got a little paint on my Sharpie. I often protect my table with a tablecloth, but this time I also put down the white paper. I actually did that just for video's sake, but I'm finding it's super useful. So if you just have like a piece of scrap paper around, and if you don't, you could always use your paper plate, or you could use your paper towel, but don't be afraid to pick up a pencil, pick up a Sharpie, test it out on the side before you go to your finished piece. She's kind of done. She's just waiting for her hair. He's kind of done, but I want to add a little bit more gold to the buckle, especially on the bottom. I might outline this one too. I'm not sure. I'm going to see what it looks like after I put his beard on. And glue is the only thing that is not included in your kit, because I didn't want it to dry up in case you didn't have the chance to use it right away. So you can use Gorilla Glue. You can use hot glue. I have like the world's tiniest tube. I think it's E6000. Yes, that's the glue I'm using, E6000. So this is kind of like crazy glue, I guess. In your kit, you're gonna have 2 fur beards. One is a little bit wider than the other. If you wanna just kind of do that, you look for the bigger one. The bigger one is for the bigger triangle. And that one is gonna go, might thin out his hair a little bit because I am really loving his little tucks, or his leprechaun blazer. But I'm just gonna do like a thin line right here of the glue going all the way across. Kids, this is not for you, this is for the adults, especially if you're using this one, because this one is like crazy glue. And then I'm just gonna lay the beard down right on there, give it a little tap. And then I'm gonna let that dry. And then move on to her. So hers is gonna be more like hair. So I may even cut hers a little bit and give it a little snip right in the middle. I have any scissors? No. All right, let me grab some scissors. So I want hers to look like it's sort of parted in the middle and separating. So let's see, if this is the middle, yeah, I'm just gonna give her a little snip right there. And maybe cut off little mini triangles just to help it look like it's parting. Let's see. Yep, I'm gonna do a little bit more, but this is definitely the way to go. So if you could do 2 leprechauns, 2 boy leprechauns, but if you want one to be a girl and you want it to look like hair, all I did was kind of cut it in the middle, but I cut actually like a triangle out just to help it look like it's separating, make it a little easier to pull it apart. I'm gonna do that same thing. I'm gonna do a line of glue, and I'm just sort of feeling it out here. I wanna see how it looks before I glue it. So that's gonna be like her 2 little, yes, this is adorable. When I do that, I'll put her nose like right there. I feel like maybe I'll do a little something here on her dress. Maybe we'll just do like a little line down the middle. And then again, just like a little design, like as if somebody sewed on like eyelet or lace down the center of her leprechaun gown. Just feel like it was missing a detail. So again, most of it at the top is gonna be covered with that fake fur. But I'm just gonna add a little something. So they say a true artist is never finished, and this is pretty evident of that. So I'm just trying to draw like these little scallop lines. So it could look like lace or eyelet or like rickrack. I guess that's more of like zigzags, but just do this little detail and then make it look like there's buttons. So, oh, I should use the gold. Yes, more gold. Okay. So she'll have, do you remember that song, Miss Mary Mac? The silver buttons all down her back. Well, these are gold, but that song just popped into my head. It's like fake fur stuck in my brush. But that is super cute. I'm gonna need a little bit more white, which is starting to dry up. We're gonna make this a little more emphasized. There we go. Now we're talking. Now she's got a nice dress going on. Okay, so then when her hair separates, as it will, now we can see this like cute little detail on the front of her leprechaun gown. And we're almost done. It's just glue and signature on the back. Finished. Okay, I'm gonna get my glue. I'm gonna put it kind of in the middle of the cuff of the hat, using that as like a guideline. Still have to put their noses on. Then I like to kind of put it down like this so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And then again, kids, this part is for your parents or a grown-up to do, your babysitter, grandma, whoever's with you. Let the parents do that part. And then I have two little things. So like, how freaking cute is that? And I'll put like a little, I don't know, I might take a piece of her hair, like tie it around, make it look like pigtails. Very cute. Okay, let's check on the dude. He's looking pretty cute too, but we can't see his tucks. So I think I might give him a little trim. And this is all like, maybe yours needs it, maybe yours doesn't. But I'm just gonna carefully remove part of the bottom bit, and I just cut off like a little slice. And keep it, just in case. Yeah, that's looking a little better. And then the beads that you'll have, one is a little bit bigger than the other. So the bigger one goes with the bigger triangle, and they are beads. So if you want those holes to show, fine, but if you don't, make sure you hold it sideways. And then I think I'm gonna actually do a little snip as his too, just so that, I'm gonna make it a little more fringy actually. And it's actually giving him a little bit of haircut at the same time. So that's good. I'm gonna use those little bits to help with my pigtails on my lady. Thin it out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna put his nose in the fur, like that. Yeah, I think I need to cut his beard a little bit more because I miss his little tuxedo. It's so cute. His nose up here. And a little bit more glue. So when you start to do the nose, it is because the beads are wooden. They're a little, I'm gonna say heavy. They're not heavy, but heavy for glue. So you might wanna just kind of hold them like this for a couple seconds so they don't just roll away. Okay, give that a chance to dry. Moving over to my lady. I'm actually gonna stick hers like where it's separating. I think hers is cuter when it's on the wood, but that's personal preference. So I'm turning my holes away so that they're on the sides, and then again I'm just sort of holding that bead in place, just giving it like, I don't know, 5 seconds so it doesn't roll away. Now I am almost done. I'm just gonna do like a little tweak here or there, but aren't these they're so cute. Oh my gosh, I love them. I love them so much. Okay, she just needs to dry, and then I'm gonna tie so it looks like pigtails. And for him, I just need to kind of fix the center of his beard because it's looking a little rough. Needs to shave. So I'm just gonna actually remove this little bit. And this is optional. This is not something you need to do. Everybody's kind of like fur slice might be a slightly different size. So you may not even need to do this, but I kind of feel like his was just like a little bit too long, and I want to reveal his tuxedo. When you cut the fur, be careful that you're only cutting the backing or the batting. You don't want to cut the actual hair, if that makes sense, because you don't want to remove the length of the beard. So much better. Okay, so he just needed like a little peekaboo. Okay. Fake fur everywhere. So he's kind of done. And then I just want to do a little tie, and then we're finished. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are so cute. Maybe I don't even need to do that. Do I need to do that? It might work better with string. I don't know. That's pretty cute. So what I'm doing is I'm just sort of wrapping the fake fur around it. I'm taking like a long piece, and then I'm just sort of wrapping it around the pigtail, and then I'm gonna tap it into place with glue. So I'm not actually tying it, but that is super cute. Okay. It's fake fur. It's growing. Okay, now I'm listening to Hamilton. My music is on shuffle, in case you didn't pick up on that yet. Okay, wrap this around. This is so cute. I'm gonna use the edge of my paintbrush to kind of help me out. Okay. This is like when you wrap a present and you wish you had somebody else's fingers there to kind of hold it in place while you pull the ribbon. Yes, this is working out perfectly. All according to my last minute idea plan. Okay, so stinking cute. How cute is that? You guys, look at my adorable girl leprechaun. Adorable. And here's my boy leprechaun, my favorite leprechaun couple. So I hope you enjoyed watching me paint these, along with cracking myself up. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.